Chapter: Across the Dark Forces Span of Time.
On that night of dreamings, I thought about how to move people across the dark forces span of time. My plan and awareness were precise and real, and they approved. The book you write will contain unobtrusive combinations and letter formulations that will give rise in most people to feelings of goodness and light. These feelings can fight physical and emotional ailments, and will facilitate the birth of the new awareness intrinsic to the people of the future. Believe me, Vladimir, this is not hocus pocus. This corresponds to the laws of the universe. It's all very simple. You will write the book and be guided exclusively by your feelings and soul. Otherwise, you won't be able to because you don't have the writing skills. However, with feelings you can do anything. These feelings are already inside you. Both mine and yours. You're still unaware of them. They will be understood by many. Embodied in symbols and combinations, they will be more powerful than Zoroastrian fire. Hide nothing that has happened to you, even what you treasure most. Emancipate yourself from any shame, and don't be afraid to be ridiculous. Make peace with your pride. I revealed myself to you entirely, body and soul. Through you I want to reveal myself to all people, and now this has been allowed me. I know the mass of dark forces that will come crashing down on me and resist my dream, but I'm not afraid of them. I'm stronger, and will live to see what I have conceived. And I will live to give birth to and raise my son, our son, Vladimir. My dream will break many mechanisms of the dark forces, which have had a pernicious effect on people for millennia, and will compel many to work for good. I know you can't believe me right now. The conventions and many postulates engendered in your brain by the preconceptions of your world's existence act as an obstacle for you. The possibility of time travel seems an unlikely possibility to you. But your concepts of time and distance are relative. It is the degree of consciousness and will, not the second and meter, that characterize these dimensions. The purity of intentions, emotions, and feelings characteristic of the majority determines the point in the universe in time where humanity is. You believe in horoscopes, and in your total dependence on disposition of the planets. This belief was achieved through the mechanisms of the dark forces. This belief slows the time of the parallel of light, and gives the parallel of darkness a chance to move forward and grow bigger. This belief is leading you away from an awareness of the truth and the essence of your earthly existence. You have to analyze this carefully. Just think. God created man in his image and likeness. Man has been given the greatest freedom, the freedom to choose between the darkness and the light. Man has been given a soul. Everything visible is in man's power. The man is at liberty, even with respect to God, whether to love him or not. No one and nothing can govern man against his will. God wants man's love in exchange for his own, but God wants the love of a free man who is perfect and resembles him. God created everything visible, including the planets, which provide order and harmony for every living thing, the plant and the animal worlds, and help the human flesh, but they absolutely do not govern man's soul or reason. Neither the planets nor the stars direct man. Rather, through his subconscious, man moves all the planets. If one man wanted a second sun to blaze up in the sky, it wouldn't. Things are arranged to prevent a planetary disaster. But if all people simultaneously wanted a second sun, it would appear. Compiling a horoscope requires, above all, taking into consideration the basic parameters, the man's level of temporal awareness, the strength of his will and spirit, the aspirations of his soul, and the degree of its participation in the moment of present daily life. Favorable and unfavorable days, magnetic storms, and high and low pressure are freely vanquished by the will and consciousness. Haven't you ever seen a happy and joyful man on an overcast day, or in bad weather? Or, on the contrary, a sad, depressed man on the most propitious sunny day? You think I'm fantasizing like a crazy woman when I talk about how the letter combinations and formulations I place in the book will heal and enlighten people. You don't believe me because you don't understand. But in fact, it's very simple. Here I am right now, speaking your language, trying to use your turns of phrase and even intonations. It will be easy for you to remember what I've said because this is your language, inherent to you alone, but also understood by many people. It contains no incomprehensible words or rare idioms. It's simple and therefore understandable to the majority. But I'm changing it just a little, maybe introducing a few words, just a little bit. You're in an agitated state right now, so when you remember this state, you'll remember everything I told you, and you'll write down what I've said. That is how my letter combinations will wind up in the book you write. They are very important. They could work miracles, like prayer. After all, many of you already know that prayers are specific combinations of specific letters. These combinations have been constructed by enlightened men with God's help. The dark forces were always trying to take away man's ability to make use of the grace emanating from these combinations. For this, they even changed the language, introduced new words and removed old ones, and distorted the meaning. Previously, for example, your language had 47 letters. Now there are only 33 left. The dark forces introduced other combinations and formulas of their own, stirring up what is base and dark, and tried to distract man with carnal desires and passions. But I brought the primordialness of the combinations to the fore using only today's letters and symbols, and they will now be effective. I worked so hard to find them, and I did it. I've gathered and collected all that was best from different times. I collected a lot. I concealed them in what you will write. As you see, this is simply a translation of a combination of signs from the depths of eternity and the infinity of the cosmos, precise in meaning, significance, and purpose. You must write about everything you've seen here and hide nothing, not the bad, not the good, not the cherished, and then they will be preserved. You will be convinced of this yourself. Please believe me, Vladimir. You will be when you write it. In many who read what you are going to write, feelings and emotions will arise that they still do not understand or grasp completely. They will tell you this. You'll see and hear them tell you this. And they will have feelings of light, and later many themselves will understand with the help of these feelings a lot more than you have written. Just write a little. When you are convinced that people are feeling these combinations, when 10, 100, 1,000 people tell you this, then you will believe it and write it all. Just believe. Believe in yourself. Believe in me. In the future I will be able to tell you something even more important, and they will understand and feel it. But even more significant is the rearing of children. You were interested in knowing about sources and mechanisms, rockets and planets. And I still wanted to tell you more about raising children, and I will. I will tell you this when I've planted more consciousness in you. However, you need to read this when the sounds of man-made, artificial mechanisms aren't getting in the way. These sounds harm man and lead him away from the truth. Let the sounds of the natural world created by God remain. They bear the information of truth and grace, and they help your consciousness. Then the healing will be much more powerful. Once again, of course, you doubt and don't believe in the healing power of the word. You're thinking that but there is no hocus pocus or fantasy in this whatsoever. Nothing that contradicts the laws of spiritual existence. When feelings of light appear in man, they have to have a favorable influence on absolutely all the bodily organs. The feelings of light are the most powerful and effective means for countering any illness. God healed with the help of these kinds of feelings, and so did the saints. Read the Old Testament, and you'll be convinced yourself. Some people of your world can also heal with the help of these feelings. Many of your doctors know about this. Ask them, if you don't believe me. After all, it's easier for you to believe them. The stronger and lighter this feeling, the greater its effect on the person to whom it is directed. I could always heal with my ray. When I was a child, my great-grandfather taught and explained it all to me. I've done this many times with my summer people. Right now, my ray is many times stronger than my grandfather's and great-grandfather's. They say this is because the feeling called love has appeared in me. It is very big and pleasant, and it burns a little. I would like to give it to everyone and to you. I would like everyone to feel good, and everything to be good, the way God intended.
Anastasia had delivered her monologue with extraordinary inspiration and certainty, as if she had shot it into space and time. Then she fell silent. I looked at Anastasia, stunned by her unusual fervor and certainty, and asked, "Anastasia, is that all? Are there no more nuances to your plans, your dream?"
The rest of the details are trivial, Vladimir, inconsequential. I created them in passing, as easily as 2 times 2. There was just one complication that concerned you, but I've solved it.
Please tell me in more detail. What was the complication that concerned me?
You have to understand. I've made you the richest man on earth. I've also made you the most famous. This will happen in a little while, but when the dream was being specified, before it had taken off, caught up by the forces of light, the dark forces. They're always trying to add something harmful of their own, different side effects that will ruin those it concerns and various people. My thoughts raced very, very fast, but the dark forces caught up anyway. They abandoned many of their earthly affairs and tried to launch their own mechanisms around my dream, and that was when I came up with something. I outwitted them, and I made all their mechanisms work for the good. The forces of darkness were at a loss for less than an instant, but that was enough for my dream, caught up by the forces of light, to race off into the infinity of light, out of the dark forces' reach.
What did you come up with, Anastasia?
Unexpectedly for them, I made the dark forces span of time, during which you will have to overcome various difficulties, a little longer. To do this, I had to deprive myself of the possibility of helping you with my ray. They were perplexed, not seeing any logic in it on my part. Meanwhile, I shone it very, very quickly on the people you will be communicating with in the future.
What does all this mean?
People will help you in my dream, with their small, almost uncontrollable rays. But there will be lots of them, and together, you will make my dream a material reality. You will be transported across the dark forces span of time, and you will bring others with you. You will not be arrogant and greedy when you're rich and famous, because you'll understand that money is not the main thing, that it can never give you warmth or the sincere complexity of a human soul. You will understand this when you go across this span of time and see and meet these people. And they will understand too.
But the bows to the bankers.
Just in case, I devised your relations with the banks as well, because you don't take care of your body at all. At least with the bowing, you'll get some exercise when you withdraw money from the bank, and so will some bankers. I don't care if this is a little silly. On the other hand, there will be no simple pride in you. So it has come to pass that all the difficulties and obstacles the dark forces have come up with, in their span of time, will temper you and those around you. They will make you more aware and safeguard you later on from the dark temptations they are so proud of. Their very actions will safeguard you, which is why they were at such a loss for a fraction of a second. Now they will never chase down my dream.
Anastasia, my sweet dreamer, my fantasizer.
Oh, you've done something very fine. Thank you. Thank you. You said it well, my sweet.
You're welcome. But I did also call you a fantasizer, a dreamer. You aren't offended?
Not at all. You still don't know how exactly my dreams always come true when they're vivid and detailed. This one will definitely come true. It is my favorite and most vivid one. And this book will work out. People will find they have unusual feelings, and these feelings will summon people to...
Wait a minute, Anastasia. You're starting to get carried away again. Calm down. Very little time had passed when I cut off Anastasia's fervent speech, which seemed nothing more than a fantasy. I didn't quite understand her monologue's meaning. Everything she said seemed too fantastic. Only a year later did the editor of Miracles and Adventures read the manuscript containing that monologue and emotionally present me with the most recent issue of this magazine, May 1996. I was gripped by emotion when I read its contents. Two major scientists, academician Anatoly Akimov and academician Vladimir Kaznachev, both spoke in their articles about the existence of a supreme reason, the closer relationship between man and the cosmos, and the rays that emanate from man, but are invisible to ordinary vision. Special instruments were able to register them, and in the journal were 2 paragraphs of these rays coming from people. But science had only begun to talk about what Anastasia had not only known since childhood, but had simply used in her daily life, in her efforts to help people. How could I have known a year ago that the woman standing before me wearing her one and only skirt and clumsy galoshes, fingering the buttons on her top agitatedly, Anastasia, would truly possess tremendous knowledge and the ability to influence human destinies, that her spiritual bursts really were capable of countering what was dark and ruinous for humanity. Not a folk healer famous in Russia, the chairman of the Russian Foundation of Healers, would assemble his assistants and say, "We are all bugs before her," and add that the world had yet to know a power greater than hers. He would regret my long failure to understand her. Many would sense an energy of tremendous power emanating from the book. Poems would come sprinkling down like spring rain, washing away the mud, after publication of the first small print run of the book, whose author, I think, is she. Esteemed reader, you are now holding this book in your hands, reading it. Whether it is summoning up feelings in your soul, only you can judge. What are you feeling? What is it calling you to do? Anastasia, left alone there in the taiga, in her glade, will keep using her ray of goodness to dispel the obstacles arising before her dream. She will keep gathering and inspiring more and more new people to make her dream come true. Thus, in a different moment, 3 Moscow students would come to stand by my side, without proper monetary compensation for their labor, helping me even materially. Earning money where they could, they, especially Lyosha Novichkov, would spend night after night typing this text of Anastasia on their computers. They would not stop typing, even when their difficult semester began, and Moscow Printing Press number 11 would issue a print run of 2,000, bypassing the need for a publisher. Yet even before this, the journalist Evgenia Kvitko from the Pleasant Gazette would be the first to talk about Anastasia in the press. Later would come Katya Golovina from Moscow Pravda, then Forest Gazette, World of News, and Radio Russia. Disdaining tradition, miracles, and adventures, which published famous luminaries of academic science, would devote several issues to Anastasia and print the following.
In their most daring dreams, academicians have not achieved the insights of the Anastasia, the sorceress from the Siberian taiga. Purity of intention makes man omnipotent and omniscient. Man is the pinnacle of creation.
Only the serious press in the capitals would publish Anastasia. It was as if Anastasia herself chose it, bypassing the tabloids, thus carefully safeguarding the purity of her dream. But this became clearer only a year after I'd met her. And then, not understanding her, not fully believing her, and relating in a unique way to what had happened, I tried to shift the conversation to a topic closer to me: entrepreneurs.
End of chapter. Join us for the next and last segment of Anastasia, Book 1 of the Ringing Cedar series. Who are you, Anastasia?